Okay, I am live now. To anybody watching the replay, hello. And also, sorry if you're hearing noise upstairs, because there are people upstairs and currently having issues. But anyways, I've lost my train of thought. What I was gonna say. So I guess, well, if you've read the title of the live stream, hey, what's the crack, bud? What's the crack to you, Mr. Skarner from Plastic Crack Gaming? And, title of the video is as it is. I'm gonna be painting some MegaNobz and also talking some Ork Lore because last stream there were some people who I found out that watched my live streams who don't actually know that much about Ork Lore, and so I'll be doing some description of Ork Lore. Although I will wait for some more people to come in before I start doing that, because right now I'm busy obsessing over writing some rules and yes, I'm here to teach the other Gitz what's what. That's why I'm called the Gitman. Because there are some people, like, there are plenty of Ork Lore videos out there, but it's also hard to figure out, like, what's good Ork Lore and, like, what people are just spouting out just simply to make a video, or people who just simply don't know Ork Lore and just want to make up their own stuff. Like, Scar and the other war bosses, I know it's only just one person here in the chat. There is some junk out there too. Yes, that is correct. I know that you, Scar, you and the other war bosses made a very good lore video about the Ork Clans, and I still actually watch it periodically because there is actually some good detail in it. And for anybody who's wanting to see that video, I will post a link in the description so you can actually watch the video yourself because you really should. Because Scar and the war bosses, when they're on topic, which um, actually is still structured to a degree, they are able to give out some like actual good Ork lore. Scar saying, yes, some folk get confused between the difference between each of the clans. Yes, they also seem to confuse the concept of a clan and a tribe. They think that clan and tribe are kind of like the same thing, which is not necessarily the case. Because as Dim has put it before, a tribe is just a group of orcs in a given area that may be under a war boss or under several war bosses under the control of a warlord who hasn't really aspired to like gather enough orcs to escalate into a war. And in a clan, it's a personality trait rather than like just orcs in a given area. I'll probably restate this in the video later. I suppose it does not help that GW have not put as much effort into the clan and Ork lore in general since the old days. Well, that's both a downside and also a plus side, because then it allows us to create our own lore and have our own freedom about it. But I probably shouldn't delve too much into the lore until more people start to flow in, because unfortunately, the person who wanted me to do a Ork lore stream isn't here yet. I'm just trying to see if like the glare on my glasses will go away if I just take away glasses. For instance, freebooters were not a clan, but then GW zogged that up back in 7th. I mean, they're still technically not a clan. They're just referred to as a clan for the clanless. which I guess makes them both clan and also not a clan, depending on how you look at it, I guess. Need to stay hydrated, especially since sun's out and things are gonna heat up. Also, sorry if the window's light is bothering you, but I don't have any curtains because we recently just had the exterminator come by to clear out some bed bugs, and we had to take the curtains down because there were some bed bugs on it, and we threw them out. So, unfortunately, I don't have any curtains to block the shine coming from the window. But I imagine most people here in the stream, which even though there's only one, won't actually know or care about it. Yes, I'm glad that there are no more bed bugs too. It was an absolute pain in the ass. Um, I wouldn't be certain if they do give a nasty bites scar. There weren't actually that many. They were mostly like on the box spring underneath my mattress. And like they occasionally were sprawling out onto a stuffed animal I had on the mattress, and they weren't really biting me, so I wouldn't really know about it. I'm happy that they didn't bite me though, because I don't really want to know what it's like to be covered in bed bug bites. So so what clan are you going to paint your mans? They're not. They're actually not going to be painted up as a clan. Because as I have alluded to many times, my orcs, they're all from a different mixture of clans that have formed up into a WA that is a bit more structured than you may think. So like they've all decided to cast aside their old clan colors in favor of orange and blue. The reason they picked orange was because the boss I was very flashy and loud in some way, and also it looked very nice. Yes, most WAs are made up of several clans, but my WAs kind of like transcends each clan culture a bit, which is kind of what makes it a little bit freebooter esque. But like there are mobs from like several clans who still hold on to their clan's ideology, but the tribe that they were a part of was like either annihilated and they managed to survive, or they were exiled, but they didn't feel like casting aside the old philosophy of their clan because they just loved it so much. So they eventually they start to roam the stars, and my war boss, who goes by the name of Mogork Ironbrawler, who I'll actually talk a little bit about him later, but he basically formed up this wall because he was a member of the Dese clan, but he was also on Armageddon, and when Gazgul was first defeated and driven from Armageddon, Mogork was one of those few orcs who managed to survive and get off world. Because I imagine with a wall so huge like that there were plenty of orcs that managed to escape. And eventually he starts to. Yes, that was the second Armageddon War, not the first Armageddon War, but that was between World Eaters and Imperial Guard, or World Eaters and whatever other Imperial forces were there. I don't really know, and I don't really care. Yes, the first was Chaos. A lot of people say Angron was there, so a lot of people say it was World Eaters specifically. Filthy chaos. But yeah, so he basically, as a Deathskull, he obviously wore blue, but then he decided to paint over the white accents with orange because he just really liked the color of orange, and he eventually found more orc individuals who were like either from a clan, tribe, or more actually from a tribe or a wall that was like grounded to a halt and eventually defeated. And he eventually like sullied them into like his growing tribe, which would eventually escalate into a war when he gathered enough like orcs to actually form into a war. And so he's basically on this quest, roaming the stars for like any orcs who are basically. There's also two people in here now. Who all is here? He's basically so Mogork. He's basically on this quest. Hey, it's Steve-O, two bald knobs in attendance. Welcome, welcome. We're just busy talking some Ork lore, and eventually, hopefully, if I'm able to, we painting some MegaNobz. Yeah, the big deal himself. Come to grace us. Yeah. Anyway, what was that? I've lost my train of thought again. So Mogork, who's the and his sidekick. uh, I thought we called him. I thought we called him the BattleTech Master or the Discord Tyrant or some other kind of title. Sure thing, half pint. I don't really know what that means, but okay. Anyways, as I'm trying to say, the leader of my WA, regional champion nowadays. Okay, I wasn't aware. Thank you for clarifying. As I'm trying to say, half pint is term used for short people. Is a term used for short people. I imagine after reading that comment, Steve was gonna just go freaking autocorrector. Got a swank trophy and all. Ah, yes. Perfect. I was calling Steve-O short, but with me being able to pick him up easily. Man, I'm never going to be able to finish any of this lore discussion with just the two of you in here. But you know what? I guess that's perfectly fine. And also normal, I guess, because what else would I be expecting from the two bald knobs who I have both missed dearly. I give the best hugs. I am a fairly average height, but next to Scar, I look like Essex. Is that your way of saying Essex is incredibly short compared to all the other bosses? Two bald knobs is returning soon. Woo! About sogging time. Anyways, what I was trying to. Essex is only 3 foot tall. If he shows up, you can say it to his face. I don't know if he will show up. You're a tall midget, I'll give you that much. Anyways, as I'm trying to poorly explain, Mogork, who is the leader of the Wa, which he aptly named the Coalition, and the reason it's called the Coalition is because it's led by a committee of war bosses instead of just one. If I sit on floor, I can say it to his face. As long as he is standing up at the same time. Fair enough. Man. So anyway, the name of my wall is called the Coalition, and the reason why it's called that. Yes, I'm talking about some Ork lore, and I'm right now trying to answer Skarner's question of what I'm painting my MegaNobz, and which I guess I technically already did. Because it said they're not getting painted up as a specific clan, they're just getting painted up in orange and blue, because that's my color scheme. And no, that does not mean I'm a death skull. I just like blue. Like, blue's my favorite color. Them's fighting words. I expect a duel at the next meet. But yeah, Steve-O, the main reason of calling this, it's not, it's not a clan. Well, it's not the my orcs. They're not exactly a tribe. They're a wa, which a wa is a mix of clans. Plus, tribes are always usually a mix of different clans. Um, I mean, it was originally it was a clan, but then I decided to change it up because I was getting far more war bosses at one point to where I just decided to call it a wa since it made more sense at me at the time because a tribe or a clan, and I didn't really see it being big enough to like have as many war bosses as I did. Because I think, not counting Gazgul, I have like 6 or 7 war bosses, and that was before I got like a massive influx of knobs and a small portion of boys. I just like camo, hence blood axes. Well, that's fine. I love camouflage too. Camouflage is a great way to stay hidden. It also works even not in a even in a non in a non camouflage environment. Gazzy and the Bully Boys, and no, I got all these war bosses well before I actually got a Gazgul. Yeah, I know that Gazzy gets war bosses as bodyguards, but I didn't have Gazgul at the time because before I got like the new Gazgul, because I had the old Gazgul in resin, because he was the like legal Gazgul before the new one came out. And eventually, when the new one came out, the old one became obsolete by comparison. So I just decided to bash him into War Boss and Mega Armor. So I had 2 War Bosses in Mega Armor, and then I think I had 2 Assault on Black Reach War Bosses, as well as the Gruck War Boss that came with the Power Claw, the Combi Rocket Shooter, and the Attack Squig. And then eventually, Tom sent me a metal war boss, like an old metal war boss with an attack squig as well as a combi rocket. And so I think that I had 6 war bosses before I ever got Gazgul, so that's why I didn't really make them the bully boys. Cause I love the MegaNobz kit. You get so many useful bits in there. Love how you can mix parts with knobs and flash kits. Yeah, I should have gotten some flash kits when I got some more MegaNobz, because I really I don't actually have any flash kits, which is kind of sad because they look very cool. I really want to get some flash kits. But anyways, I think I'm getting off topic now. See, this is I'm running into the issue of being in the Discord with the 2 bald knobs. Wait, this is not the Discord. Sorry, being live with the 2 bald knobs. But the story behind it is like when Gazgul inevitably came along and found this wall, he felt it was a little bit like disorganized, but with it being led by a committee of war bosses. Yeah, it's just a pity the kit cost an arm and a leg, though. Yes, yeah, I guess that is true. An arm and a leg for like 5 models. I have a few boxes of flash kits, but always end up using them to make other things. Look, if you have 2 kits of flash kits, Stevo, take both of them and make a 10-man unit of flash kits, or maybe 2 5-man units of flash kits, because you really should be having some flash kits in your tribe, especially if you're a bad moon. I mean, I'm pretty certain like 5 or even 10 flash kits would do wonders for a bad moon mob, considering that they're actually not too bad at giving out the DACA. So, you should probably build some of those flash kits as flash kits. would be surprised if you as a badman player wouldn't want to have flash Gitz in your mob. I have so many models that wouldn't get used now that the screw now that they screwed with with unit sizes. My poor Ludas, my poor Ludas. Yes, harkening back to the times when we could just have all Ludas and no spanner. I think we said we could have like 15 we had like 15 Ludas and like none of the spanners if we really wanted to. I mean, it's still all Ludas and 15 in a unit. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Ludas now, they're actually still pretty good. Like, I know it still kind of sucks they hit on a 5 plus unless, like, they hit on a 5 plus when you don't move because normally they'll be hitting on a 6. But I really think they're actually still pretty good, especially since they reroll ones and also they reroll full hit rolls when they fire at an enemy on an objective marker. I have bloody 3 units of the M of them for apocalypse games. Alas, no longer. Oh, sad times. Sad times. Anyways, well, yeah, no unit got hit harder than tank busters. Yep, too true. Too true. But you know, actually, on the subject of tank busters, I was talking with Mr. Fish, Joshua. I was talking to him the last time we met up, and he thinks that the little like sneak peek that we got from GW, because there actually was one that showed off like a little custom Mega Blaster part. Really need to make some tank hammer boys. I don't think you actually would need to. You could actually still use your normal tank busters, Steve-O, and just say that like one of them, the trigger on it is broken, so the next thing he does is he just takes it and he just smashes the rocket into a vehicle. You could just say he does that. Plus, I do believe you do have some boys that look like they have rocket pistols anyway. Grot's going to 20 instead of 30 was a slap in the face. The boys, too. It's such a weedy game now. No, I gotta go WYSIWYG. Grand until you come up against a WYSIWYG wankers. Well, I was trying to say something about tank busters. Also, we have a third person in here who has joined us. Hello and welcome, by the way. Timed to perfection. Laugh out loud. Yeah, laugh at me all you want. It's because I'm stuck in here with the two bald knobs who are continuously writing down some crap that need my attention. Well, what I was saying about tank busters is the sneak peek. Hello, Sydney. The sneak peek that we got of like the little custom Mega Blaster part. We're laughing at each other. Jude, not you, buddy. Well, I can't tell. Because I'm still the snotling of the Discord, apparently, because I'm the youngest. The war bosses are, yeah, the war bosses are my number one fans. Woo! Alright, as I was saying, the little sneak peek that GW gave us of the small custom Mega Blaster, it's officially at this point. Sure. But the little sneak peek, Mr. Fish has been thinking that it's gonna be an actual like a little las cannon unit, so to speak, for orcs. Because we have Ludas and they're not really anti vehicle, they're more anti infantry. And same thing with Flash Gitz. So what he's thinking is the new Tank Busters kit. It's gonna be similar to the Commandos in the way that it's refreshed, but they can have either rocket launches or custom Mega Blasters, and they can also maybe have the option of having custom Mega Sluggas and rocket pistols as their side weapons. Because he thinks that orcs need to have work similarly to Space Marines in like that they have a pistol and also a main firearm. Because I don't see why an orc wouldn't. I fear he might be right, but I think they're going to completely change Tank Busters, invalidating the existing unit. I hope I am wrong. Well, I wouldn't say like it'd be completely invalid, Stevo. Like, because as I just said, you could still have rocket launches, and you could still have and you could have like custom Mega Blasters, and also you could maybe still throw in a few tank hammers because tank hammers they're still pretty decent, especially since like you're not in danger of just immediately killing the tank hammer unit when he uses it. Give them the same treatment they did to Commandos. I mean, it would mean that a lot of people who actually have tank busters could actually use tank busters now. Add a new stuff unit does not already have, etc. I mean, I think Commandos, before they redid the kit, they still could have a burner and a rocket launcher. I wouldn't be so certain about a big shooter and a custom shooter, which now are renamed to like just Commando special shooters. Sorry if I'm rubbing my lips. My lips are still a little bit chapped from a trip I went over to San Diego. Tank Buster, tank busters were easy to make. Saved up your rockets from boys kits and bish bash bosh sorted. I mean, I don't think you really need you wouldn't need a new Tank Busters kit in order to actually use Tank Busters. Like, if the new kit comes out and there's 10 Tank Busters, well then you can just simply use the Tank Busters. You can simply just use Tank Busters that you already have. Like, I think Stevo has made 10 Tank Busters, or maybe 15. So addictive to make. Tank Busters and mechs are my fave thing to kit bash. I'm gonna give a big doubt on that one, Stevo. I'm fairly certain I made 25 of the Gitz. And you painted how many? 10? I have 15 painted. Okay. So that means you need to paint 10 more. And here I was thinking it was cans. I would actually probably say cans. Cans when dreads would probably be Sydney's. Because Sid always loves to tell everybody how he loves his Def Dreads and his Killicans. Which is never a bad thing, because Def Dreads and Killicans rock. Yeah, he puts me to shame. I only have 4 Def Dreads. Planning 2 more. Well, I guess you're just like me, Steve-O. I only have 4 Def Dreads. And I didn't do anything with them. I just made them the way that the kit told me to. Because at the time, I didn't think about bashing or making them look unique. You need to build a Jackie can of your own, so of your own. Or maybe build a Judge Dredd, Def Dread. I am the Claw. Anyways, I think the point of the stream was to talk about Ork Lore and also to paint some MegaNobz. But so far the people who actually wanted me to make this video haven't shown up. Or yeah, but even using standard parts, you can have 3 unique looking dreads. That's why the kit is so legendary. True. I mean, I ripped one up when it had I think a big Shuda and a Scorcha, and I also ripped off some of its arms because they would have been in the way of the new set of arms that I gave it. Because I wanted to have a Def Dread that had 4 Dread Claws, since that was an option. Because until like when Ninth Edition rolled around and you before Ninth Edition rolled around, you couldn't have 4 Def Dread Claws. You could only have 2 Dread Claws and 2 Dread Saws, and it wasn't really a big fan of the Dread Saws because of the way that the attack sequence would have worked. You would have had to like split your attacks from between your Def Dread. The dark days. I just didn't like the Dread Saw because it was not as powerful as the Dread Claw, as the Dread Claws, because like you couldn't even have 4 Dread Saws. You had to either have like 2 Dread Claws or 2 Dread Saws if you wanted a close combat Dread. Which I would have just liked it if they went like you could have either 4 Claws or 4 Saws. I'm so happy to have the 4 Claws and the 4 Big Shooter options. Yes. Yes, I do love 4 Clawed Dreads. I would have thought that they wouldn't have had to get rid of the Dread Saw option. You could have still very easily kept the Dread Saws as an option. You would have just been able to be like, you can either have 2 Dread Saws and 2 Dread Claws if people wanted that, or you could just simply make them 4 Dread Saws and 4 Dread Claws, because I don't think the Dread Saw was entirely useless. 4 Big Shooters is shit in game, but it looks cool as fuck. I wouldn't. I wouldn't say 4 Big Shooters are shit on a Def Dread. Hoping a shooting detachment in the Codex makes it better. Yeah, I would hope so. But I think right now, I wouldn't say a 4 Big Shooter Def Dread is completely useless. It's I would say actually 4 Big Shooters on a Def Dread, if you pair it with a mech, it's actually pretty good. It is pretty useless. Big shooter shots bounce off most units. Well, that's from targeting vehicles. I would say big shooters would be more useful against infantry. Big shooter's main advantage is its range. I guess that's true. I mean, I just like using 4 big shooters, only light infantry. Well, I just use big shooter. I've used like big shooters on a battle wagon, and it's not actually that terrible. It's like it is fairly mediocre because it's still orc shooting. However, it is still fairly useful, like for what it is. But, hello, Blobo Clown. I've been waiting for you to show up because you're the main reason I wanted to do this lore video stream, or this lore stream. I love using them for the rule of cool. It's a shooter, but big. Orcs are already happy beating the snot out of infantry. Each shooting that packs a punch and hits. I mean, I'm fairly certain like for quite a while, orcs have never actually really been that much of a shooty army unless you play Bad Moons, and even then, it's still just like weight of weight of like dice that can actually drag something down. It's not really the quality. It's not really the quality of our shooting power. It's more of the simple quantity of medium firepower. Although that's not really a thing now. Orcs have previously been very shooty armies at times. I guess so. The way I'm really seeing it, Scars, shooting for orcs has always been a very tough deal because you're not very accurate. It's more just about the huge quantity of dice rather than the high quality of hitting power. Because, like with Space Marines, you're hitting on threes, so therefore you have no real reason to worry about that much about your shooting because it's powerful and you're most likely going to hit. But there's also not that many of them, so there's not a huge amount of fire coming out. Whereas with orcs, 20-man unit of a uh, 20 mob of boys, they with all shooters can spray out a lot of firepower, and with how many shots they can fire out, something's bound to hit and something's bound to get killed. Shooting for orcs was a lot easier when we had blast markers. Yeah, you might miss, but you used to probably hit something. At the moment, we are stuck playing as Goths, but once we get new detachments, we will enjoy new options and different styles of fighting. Even if it was your own unit. Talking about blast templates. Yeah, I think one of the detachments in the Codex, Stevo, it might work similarly to Goths, but it's going to work more for our shooting. So, like, we'll get maybe the old Daka 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 rule, where any sixes we gain a bonus hit. I hope that's something that happens. I really enjoyed the Bad Boons buff last edition, exploding sixes, giving extra AP. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but I also don't think it was particularly fantastic. I would have much preferred if they just said that, like, here you don't need a six, you just have extra AP on your guns. That made more sense to me instead of it just being like a 1 in 6 chance that you were going to get better AP. Was great against Space Marines. I feel they never give Blood Axes a decent one compared to the other clans. I guess, yeah, that is it is in some ways true. It was always like they did have the similar effect as Space Marines, where like if you were a certain distance away, you gained the benefit of cover. The only problem is Space Marines, when they were 12 inches away, it was a -1 to hit. Whereas for Blood Axes, if you're 18 inches away, which is like an extra 6 inches, then you get +1 to cover, and it's quite easy to actually close the gap of 18 inches. I am pleased they won't be clan focused for now. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that's the great thing about these detachments. It's like it's hinting towards like a certain way a clan will work, but it also doesn't have to be the way that the clan fights. Like that your tribe or clan has to fight if they are a particular clan or tribe that you've painted them up as. So we will have a shooty one, a sneaky one, a vehicular one, etc. I hope we. I'm actually really. I'm looking forward to see a beast snagga one because I really want to see what they do for the beast snagga detachment. Because at the moment I really like beast snaggas. We only have 2 people in here now. What in the world? It just cut the viewers in half. It just happened. But anyways, I think yeah, bad moons aren't all bad shooting. They just have the best, most explosive gear that could. Or sorry, bad moons aren't all about shooting. They just have the best, most explosive gear that could mean armor, big choppers, etc. Yeah, I know that about bad moons, Steve. Oh, I'm not one of those people who thinks bad moons are a shooting army. But anyways, expensive. Alright, I hope Blobo Clown is still here because it was actually him who wanted me to make this lore stream, not explosive. Well, it said explosive, which if you think about it, explosive isn't a bad thing, Steve-O. Yep, the Blobo Clown is here. Expensive to rocks usually means explosive. But anyways, since I'm probably just this is true. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need to stop reading every comment right now so I can actually get some of the words I'm trying to say out of my mouth, because it was Blobo Clown who asked me to make a lore stream and talk about some of the different like Ork clans and how they worked. Read this comment. All right, where's the comment? Because I don't count that one. Giving out about having comments, the bleeding cheek, I tell ya. I am Jude. I love Steve-O. I don't count that one either. Because yeah, you're right, Steve-O. You do love you. And you're right. You also are me. Oh, thanks, Jude. You're welcome. Anyways, I think Blobo Clown, since you're here, I'll leave it up to you. What clan would you like me to discuss first? And it could also be freebooters if you want me to talk about them first, since they seem to be the most like diverse, or at least the second most difficult to understand. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I believe the amount is 0. Start with the basic, like Goths. Okay, Goths. Well, it's as you've just said, Blobo Clown. Goths are very much the most basic. They're like the poster boys for the orcs. Because like the way people like to describe the Goths is that they are just like orcs in their purest form, where you're not bothering with sneaking around or stealing stuff. It's more of just you're all about the fight. There's like any rewards you get, they're just like a bonus, or you just don't simply need them. It's more of just you live for the fight because that's what you need to make you happy. And even then, you probably still aren't going to smile as a Goth, because Goths don't really smile at all or laugh, because they're one of they're one of like the angriest kinds of orcs, because they're very grim and serious about like what they're actually doing, because they believe that like that's one of the reasons actually why they wear black and white. It's not only because when they fought the Luna Wolves, they said that white made them a lot stronger than they appeared, so that's why the Goths wear white. Goths do laugh. All orcs love a good laugh. You know, I mean, Goths, like, compared to other orcs, Goths are very much like a very serious kind of orc who don't really enjoy much of like the good sense. Yeah, Goths are no nonsense orcs, and they probably would see just like sneaking around or wearing bright colors as just like mucking about. And so like Goths, they're basically just all about the fight. Storm Boys are the ones who take themselves a bit too serious. Yeah. I don't really know what that means. But because Goths are a very brutal kind of breed, they also do tend to produce quite a lot of knobs and war bosses. Because like they're also one of the most numerous clans. They wouldn't have much respect for bad moons or blood axes or any other clans, to be honest. I don't know. I think Steve-O, out of any of the clans, I think maybe it would be snake bites that Goths would maybe like get on with a little bit easier, like compared to some of the other clans, because like snake bites, they're somewhat similar in their behavior, as in like they're not exactly very humoristic, even though they can still like enjoy. Yeah, I agree with that actually. Yes, like snake bites and Goths, they could actually get along with a little bit easier. And actually, we'll talk about snake bites here in a bit, but let me finish up with Goths. And that Goths, because of their brutal nature, they would respect a snake bite's toughness. Yeah, but because of Goth's brutal nature, they tend to have a a larger number of knobs compared to other clans, and because like they enjoy fighting far more than some of the other orcs, they tend to produce like large savage mobs of boys. And also, to get rid of like a misconception that a lot of people have, just because Goths love to get into melee, it doesn't necessarily make them a melee army or like a melee kind of style. It would tend towards that thing because like melee is something that Goths just simply love to do because they love close quarter battle. But there are still some Goths who would like occasionally maybe sit back and actually let rip with their shooter. It's just that you're not very likely to find that kind of thing. Like all yeah, it's like all orcs love to fight, as Steve was just saying. They all like Daka. They all like to go fast. Yes, that is true. Don't worry, we'll talk about the clan that goes fast here real soon, Steve. But stop distracting me. Let me stay on target. But the real thing for like the only reason Goths would actually use like any kind of yes, Gazgul is a Goth. That is correct, Blowbow Clown. And that actually goes back to what I was staying stay on target. The clans just tend to favor one aspect of war over another. Yes, that is true. Some just more than others. Stay on target. Yes, and anyway, as I'm trying to answer Blowbow Clown's question, Gazgul is a Goth, and stay on target. Yes, Gazgul is a Goth, and that kind of alludes back to me saying that Goths are very angry and not very like easygoing compared to some of their other some of the other orcs from other clans. Uh, Gazgul, he's like very famous for his bad temper, which is also why Blowbow Clown. You should go and check out the War Boss's clan lore video. No, I'm not gonna realize that I'm gonna ignore comments while they pop up, Steve-O. It's not this day. Look, as much as it's annoying and difficult to actually say anything, I still love reading your guys' comments. But Blobo Clown, you really need to go and check out the War Boss show and look at their Ork Clan video, because the War Boss is there. They really do delve into like the main aspect of like what's the difference between clans and tribes and WAs. And to make sure you actually can find it, I'll post a link in the description, like after this live stream is done, because I always build the description after the stream, because I'm just lazy that way. Yes, of course, the bald knobs are going to tell you to listen to me because it's their show that I'm promoting. or their co-host show that they co-host with Dreadwa and the Hobby Git. Speaking of which, where are those two other Gits? They should be popping into the stream. Hey, it's the misadventures of Mr. Fish. Anson and Essex, yes, Anson, Clint. I know. There are 6 of you now, but prior to that, there were only 4 of you, Steve-O. You see, don't mess with the memory bank. Whoop, whoop. Happy Saturday, you Gitz. Wah! Saturday, thought it was Sunday. I mean, maybe Sunday over in your portion of the world now, Skarner, but as for me and Mr. Fish, because we're local to each other, it's Saturday. But I think I've kind of tried to get the basic concept of what goths are across. I have a video coming tonight, Sunday night. Tomorrow. But Blobo Clown, if you are still here, goths are smelly. Yeah, sure, whatever, Steve-O. And poor. Well, they don't need to be rich. Like, look, if they really want something, what makes you think they have to pay for it? Do you really think they're gonna pay for it, or do you think they're just gonna knock your face around and then take whatever they want? No, it's still Saturday here too. COVID just knocked me out. Just knocked my days off the week for a bit. Oh, I'm sorry. You're contaminated with corona. Wait, hold on. I can't say it. You can't say it. You can't. I'm forgetting YouTube doesn't allow you to say it, so I just have to say the virus. Because apparently some people aren't very comfortable when you talk about COVID. I think I'm okay too, Steve. I'm not too worried. But Blobo Clown, which clan do you want me to talk about next? I think actually I already said I was going to talk about snake bites. And real quick, I hope you're still here, Blobo Clown. To differentiate, we need to kind of get rid of this the big misconception. No, they won't be knocking at my door, Steve-O, because they'll be too busy with something else. Everyone knows Blood Axe is the best. No. Tell that to the Bad Moon that's still in the chat. And I think only Skarner will actually agree with you on that one. Yeah, in fact, there he is saying, "Hell's yeah, Blood Axe for life. The Moon's is the best." Well, you all can say what you want. I actually love all the clans equally. I don't pick a favorite clan because each of them have a cool lore behind them. Let's go with Sons. All right, Evil Sons, I guess. But I think to recap what I said on my last stream, Evil Sons don't necessarily equal speed freaks. Because there's a difference between Evil Sons and speed freaks. Because speed freaks transcend clan culture. They like, you can find speed freaks across every different clan. I should make a merc unit for Battletech called the Blood Axes. Would be very fitting. Mismatched camo on the mechs would be hilarious. Do it, Scar. Do it. Do it. Do it. But Sons, they like most, if not all, like Evil Sons in a tribe or a WA, if there is like there are always going to be clans, different clans in a WA. Most, if not all, Evil Sons in a tribe or a WA are probably going to be in the Cult of Speed. But a Cult of Speed doesn't just focus on Evil Sons, because all orcs accept that when you paint a vehicle red, it will go faster, and the Cult of Speed is about speed, and it can easily affect any other like clan. You could have a Bad Moon speed freak, a Goth speed freak, a Snakebite speed freak, believe it or not, and Death School speed freaks. You can have speed freaks from any clan, but you're more likely to find most speed freaks are from an Evil Sunz clan because Evil Sunz also paint their vehicles red. But Evil Sunz, while they do like going fast, that's not necessarily the only thing about Evil Sunz. Evil Sunz also like to like tinker with their vehicles, like try and make them go faster than other clans' vehicles. Like they don't necessarily try and make their vehicles look snazzier like Bad Moons would, but they simply more like tune it to try and make it get more juice out of it, even if it's like jerry rigged. It's just to make sure that they can like get the maximum potential out of their vehicle until it eventually breaks down and maybe explodes. Which is also no surprise that for Evil Sunz, they would have a fair amount of mechs around because since they love tinkering with vehicles, it's not surprising. It's not surprising that there would be mechs to like keep their vehicles in shape or even just simply to create something new. Paint it yellow makes it louder. I mean, Evil Sunz, I believe they do have yellow accents on their red vehicles, so it probably does also make them louder. But anyway, so like that's the difference between Speed Freaks and Evil Sunz. And also another thing about differentiating Speed Freaks and Evil Sunz, or more specifically, the Cult of Speed between Evil Sunz. A Cult of Speed, it's going to have a numerous amount of like fast vehicles. So like they'll have trucks, they'll have battle wagons, they'll have buggies, and they'll have bikes, and they'll also have a fair amount of flyboys. For Evil Sunz, they tend to go more towards bikes and trucks, and you may occasionally find battle wagons in there, and also a fair amount of buggies and flyboys, but they mostly tend towards bikes and trucks. And that's like the main difference between the vehicles between Evil Sunz and Speed Freaks, or Evil Sunz and A Cult of Speed. But I think that's all the basics on Evil Sunz. So which clan do we need to talk about next? I have a feeling Stevo or Skarner is gonna immediately shout "Bad Moons" in the comments, because the goal for a Speed Freak would be a jet. I guess so. The Moons, yes, yeah. I knew Stevo was gonna say the Bad Moons, but I think we need to have Blobo Clown say which clan we need to talk about next, if he's still here. In which case, if he isn't, we may as well talk about Bad Moons. I'm heading off. COVID has made me very tired. Yep, see you later, Scar. Have a good one. Hope to see you in the Discord later. But yeah, Blobo Clown, which clan you want to talk about next, if you're still here? Yeah, see you later. See you later, Scar. I don't know if Blobo Clown is still here. So, you know what? We'll take you up on your offer, Stevo. We'll talk about the Bad Moons. But before I start talking wax lyrical about Bad Moons. Can I get a wah for the big deal in the chat, since we're talking about his favorite clan? After all, I am his #1 fan. Whoa. Yeah, there is Steve-O. Wow! Alright, well, so, on the subject of bad moons, um, I guess since I'll go ahead and humor Steve-O and say, get rid of like this misconception that he thinks to be a thing, which is probably very well a thing. And that bad moons, it's not necessarily that they're weaker than other orcs. It's more that like some people tend to think that they steer towards shooting over melee, which can be very true because like you're probably more likely to find large mobs of shootaboys than you would be large mobs of like slugga boys, unless they're maybe youths and they haven't gotten enough teeth to actually get a shooter. And they probably have sluggers and choppers. But it's not necessarily always the case. Like you will find bad moon melee because it's not necessarily them just like having the best shooter or the best armor or just like the best shooter and like just the best amount of DACA that they could ever dream of. They also could have the best power claw. They can also have the best suit of mega armor or the best kill saw that they could strap to their suit of mega armor. And and they could also have like the best big chopper because Bad Moons, they still do love choppers, but they want them to be like very shiny, expensive, blingy, and also, more importantly, better than everybody else's because this is the thing about Bad Moons. It's like the most important thing to them. It's all about showing off and showing just how much of a big deal the Bad Moons are. That's why like there's like serious ornamentation, why they paint stuff yellow. It's to simply show that they're just as important or even more so than some of the other clans. And I know that Steve-O, the reason he really loves his bad moons is it's because it's all about having watched Boys in the Hood and just simply all that kind of all that kind of stuff of driving around in lowriders. That's why Steve-O really likes them because like it's hard to not like that stuff unless you're a full-on metalhead like me, in which case it seems easy, or to simply just not care about it, in my case. But it's just all about showing off and having the most expensive, most powerful gear out of anybody else. Another thing about Bad Moons is they do tend to have quite a lot of flash gits, and while they aren't unique to their clan, they do really like having a lot of flash gits around because flash gets like due to them being very like flashy and blingy with a love of expensive snaz guns. That do do bad moons have the most of the big robots? People into East Coast hip hop culture are likely to favor bad moons for sure. Okay. Um, okay, and what was that? Lobo Clown just asked a question. I think Steve-O would know more about this than me because it's not really mentioned in their lore or any other orc lore about who like would have the most like big robots because really like the mechanical stuff it's handled by the mechs, and any mech could really have the obsession of I want to have a bunch of walkers. Okay, well, Steve just answered. A lot of times, yes, but not necessarily. Because like it's as I'm saying, it could be the mech's idea to have a huge dread mob. Like you want to have a lot of Gorkanauts and Stompas. It's up to the mech. It's not necessarily up to the clan. It's just that you're probably gonna have a lot of stomping robots because Bad Moons can afford a lot of big stomping robots because they got all the teeth. And it is known, like, the way Bad Moons get their teeth is by growing it faster, and like, it's like by growing their teeth a lot quicker, and teeth is Ork currency. But also, which is also why you should go check out the War Boss's clan video, Blobo Clown. It's not the only way that Bad Moons can actually have teeth or actually earned teeth. Like, this is full on Dim actually just explaining this. There's also the particular kind of squig called flesh eaters. I think that's what they're called. There's like these flesh eater squigs that have teeth that are fairly similar to Ork teeth, with I don't know if there's like any real major difference. It's not really, it wasn't really explained. Bad Moons are merchants. They trade with other clans all the time. They buy and sell and swap. Yes, although it's not necessarily all the time that trade is just Bad Moons. You could also have Death Skulls that do it, which most people would probably not want to actually deal with them unless they had no choice. You could also have Evil Sons, and you can also have Goths that do trade. It's not just Evil Sons that are Bad Moons that do trade. But back on the subject of how they grow their teeth, it is supposedly told that some Bad Moons, they figured out that the Flesh Eaters had very similar teeth to theirs, and so they had their grots harvest it, because that's what Bad Moons do. They have the grots go harvest everything. And they make sure, and they basically used the Flesh Eater teeth as currency. And it is thought that most orcs didn't notice it, and they're wondering why Bad Moons were richer than them, and they probably all thought that their teeth just grew faster. And because of the way Ork Residence works, which I'm not really going to go into detailing on that, Blobo, because I don't know too much about it. You're going to have to go and watch the War Boss show about it. That became reality, and so, like, Bad Moon teeth do grow faster, but it wasn't always that way. Initially, they just used squigs, like a flesh eater squig, to get more teeth. And they probably don't need to at this point, but they can still very much just use a flesh eater squig to get more teeth. This is theory, yes. Yes, as Steve-O's. An interesting one, though. Yeah, that's true. It's just the way that Dim described it. And it sounds very interesting. It almost sounds like it could actually be true. All right. Which clan do you want me to talk about next? Next, Blobo. All orcs use flesh eater teeth. All right. I'm just basically repeating what Dim said, because I heard. Well, I'm not saying I'm not saying that flesh eaters are clan specific, Sydney. I'm just saying that that's what Bad Moons use them as. But flesh eaters are pretty rare. All right. Look, I will say, Sydney, like, the way that this is, I should have probably cleared this up when I still had everybody here. The way that this video is working is, it's not necessarily me spouting, like, fact on Ork Lore. It's just my knowledge of how Ork Lore is, which could also be just completely wrong. In which case, feel free to correct me, and then I'll probably, like, just add that to my knowledge of Ork Lore. But which clan next? We've done Evil Sons, we've done Bad Moons, and we've done Goths. I think all we've got left, we got Snake Bites. Wrong, just like all my videos. Don't say that about your videos, Steve-O. Steve-O, your videos are great. Come on. I forgot to ask this in the Evil Sons. What? But who's the warlord of the clans? That's also no. There is no warlord for clans. There isn't really. That's more older Ork lore, but well, Gazgul he is a warlord for Goths, but he's not he's a warlord from Goths, which means that like most Goths would probably follow him because he's the biggest and most brutal. But that doesn't necessarily mean that whenever another tribe of Goths pop up that they immediately follow Gazgul, because they're how the spores work. Orcs can just grow anywhere, and eventually they can develop into a clan of their or a tribe of their own, and they will follow different philosophies of clans. So Gazgul, he's not necessarily the warlord. He is a warlord for all orcs, but he's not the warlord for a clan. He's a warlord to all orcs, so long as any orc are willing to follow him. In which case, if they don't, he probably just has to beat the hell out of them and make them follow him, because that's how you like get leadership in orcs, is beat the hell out of anybody who doesn't follow you. But I think if we're wanting like a character specific evil son, there's not really one that is like guaranteed to be considered a warlord, but the closest would be either Zagsnark Darippa, because we had a model for him from Forge World, and also he is a fairly prominent character in Evil Sons, and also maybe Wazdaka Gutsmech, but it's kind of like difficult to tell if Wazdaka is a mech or just a war boss in mega armor who also rides around on a bike. But which clan do we want to talk about next, Blobo? And for some reason it says only one person is here, so I'm assuming everybody's just gone off and it's only you here, Blobo. Off to gym. Car H catch you later. Catch you later, Gitz. Yep, no one else here. Says there are 2 people here now. It's just lying to me about who else was here. Let's go with the blue ones. Don't know their names. Death Skulls. They're called Death Skulls. The thieving Gitz, as all other clans would call them. The thieving Gitz. And how Death Skulls work is they basically are the master lootas. And this is something that I probably will get into with freebooters. But just because they love to loot doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like to fight. Because that's a misconception some people have. Is that when a particular clan likes to do something, people tend to think that it means that they don't actually like fighting just as much or more than that. But it's not necessarily the case. Like, Death Skulls, they're just like every other orc. They love to have a good fight. This is like a common thread with orcs. There is no orc alive who doesn't love a good fight. It's just that Death Skulls, they are really looking forward to after the battle because they're one of the best, like, their boys are some of the best looters out there. And they'll take anything into the bargain, actually. They'll take blown out vehicles and enemy firearms. They'll even go as far as like grisly trophies such as skulls, scalps, and also bootlaces for some reason. I'm not really certain why they would want to take bootlaces, other than that's just what they would do. And the reason they wear blue is that they really like to like court fate and like make sure that they have like the best luck. And like with every strange idea, whenever you paint yourself blue as an orc, it does seem to actually have an effect. Like, you do seem to have better fortune than most other orcs. Their war gear seems to work better than other orcs. They seem to be able to not get hurt as often as other orcs. They, like, bullets mysteriously just turn away from them. But there's also another misconception about death skulls that I need to clear up, that I sort of cleared up with Evil Sons, about saying that Evil Sons have a lot of mechs. But death skulls, they're actually known not for having a whole ton of mechs. They're known more for having quite a few docks, or pain boys as they're called, because the reason there's like an instant reaction that some people will say, surely death skulls have a lot of mechs. And they will have mechs, like, they'll have plenty of mechs. It's just that there's also an unusually large number of Mad Docs and Pain Boys in a Death Skull clan, which has also given rise to the reason as to why Death Skulls invest in blue being lucky. It's because there's a lot of Docs around to fleece them out of teeth, so they simply just hope that they never get injured in the first place, which is why they wear blue. And they also will loot flesh, which is probably why there are quite a few Pain Boys around. But the main reason why they wouldn't necessarily have a lot of mechs is because, like, they have this obsession of acquiring a certain, like, detail, or like a certain bit of kit. But when they actually steal this piece of kit, or when they finally get, like, a piece of kit from another orc or from some humies, their obsession over it typically expires right after they've stolen it, which is why Death Skulls don't typically have a whole ton of mechs. But the mechs that they do have around are actually very creative and very crafty. And they're also actually very... While they can make anything out of the junk that gets brought to them by the other orcs of their clan, they are more known for their combi weapons as being very powerful more than anything else. That's just a little bit of lore I picked up from a YouTube video I watched. I don't know if it's actually true. And yeah, well, that's Death Skulls for you. So which clan next, Bobo Clown? What clan do you want me to talk about next, Blobo? While you make up your mind, I'm going to be throwing some paint on MegaNobz here. I like to think that Death Skulls bring a wrench to battles. No, not really. That would probably, again, that's Death Skulls. They don't really bring, like, power tools to battle. Like, unless they're in a mob with a mech, then maybe they'll bring power tools for easy looting. It's not actually stated as to whether they like to use power tools for when they start to get looting, but I would assume that I wouldn't immediately assume that there is a preference of having power tools or just using normal weapons like every other orc. But which clan do you want me to talk about next, Blobo? And also remember, actually, also before I move on to the next clan, how about, Blobo, you tell me why exactly, which clan of orcs you would pick, and why did you pick them? I'm assuming you probably have already picked an orc clan, or maybe you're going for like a mix. But tell me which clan you've picked and why, because the most important thing about clans is, like, which one resonates with your personality. because there is a reason why you've picked the clan that you've picked. It's not because of the rules. It's also because of like the certain lore behind them. But anyways, which clan do we want to talk about next? I painted my combat patrol as Bad Moons. Alright. Which clan do we want to talk about next, Blowbo? I'm still needing an answer on that one. Is there another clan you want me to talk about, Blowbo, or do you think you have everything you need on some of the Ork clans? Oh, let's go with Blood Axes. I didn't see the comment pop up. Blood Axes, alright. Figured you're going to say Blood Axes sooner or later. Alright. But next, Blood Axes. We, they're essentially like orcs who think a bit more militaristically in like a bigger, have a better sense of like the big picture strategy, so to speak. But a lot of orcs tend to see them as unorky. I'm off now, Jude. Good luck with the sneaky Gitz. Yep, see you later, Sydney. Have a good one. And I hope you've achieved some good hobbying while I've been streaming, Sydney. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, blood axes. So, a lot of orcs see blood axes as very unorky, and the reason why they see them as very unorky is because of the way that they actually fight, and like hiding and using camouflage and like actually trying to talk things out with some of their other with some of like their adversaries. But what most of those orcs don't know is that they're just like every other orc and that they love to scrap and they love fighting. Like the only reason they're probably actually ever getting close to you is just to find your weaknesses and then eventually put a knife in your back. Because that's another thing about blood axes is while they will hire themselves out as mercenaries, they will just as easily turn on the people who hired them and gun them down with their own weapons. Because like every orc is opportunistic, and so if there's an opportunity for them to overthrow their employer, the blood axes will be more than happy to take the opportunity to overthrow them, or to basically just kill them, actually. And they're the only clan that actually wears camouflage, and because of this, it's no surprise that they produce a large number of commandos. But while they don't necessarily understand the aspects of how camouflage works, they only know that it's able to keep them hidden, and so it's able to just keep them hidden. Even if like the camouflage wouldn't necessarily work in the environment in which they're fighting in, it somehow still manages to keep them hidden. So, yeah, that's a thing. And also another thing, not all commandos are are from blood axes. It's just that you're more likely to find a huge number of commandos coming from blood axes due to them having a more precipice on Mork, which is sneaking around and actually having a decent think about what you do before just charging headlong into the enemy, bellowing wah. I hope this is all making sense to you, by the way, Blobo Clown. Because I'm just hoping that I'm not talking too fast and explaining too quickly. Two people here. Has someone come back, or is it we got a new person joining us? Yeah, I'm getting everything. All right, good. That's all that's important. Also, something I forgot to explain about death skulls is because they enjoy looting. It's no surprise that they will produce a large number of ludas, but they're not the only clan that has ludas. Because this is another thing about orcs, in that just because one like clan tends to lean towards one particular way of society, it's not very strict and like focused. You don't actually have to make it very like strict and where they follow it down to the wire, because none of the clans do. Like the closest one you could find to that would be Goths, due to them like having a particular like disgust of like bright colors or anything like that, because they don't see that as serious and grim, because they only respect people who take their fighting seriously. Whereas anything else they just consider to be mucking about. But you'll still have Goths that love to fire Daka before getting into melee. Anyways, back to blood axes. Because of their more cunning nature, they do actually produce quite a few like war bosses who've been able to lead some of the most like successful wars in the galaxy. And I think that's everything I have to say about blood axes, because I can't think of anything else. So, which clan next? Or do you have more questions about blood axes? All right, I talked a little about snake bites, so are we doing snake bites next? Yeah, I think actually, see, I've talked about Goths, Evil Sons, Death Skulls, Bad Moons, Blood Axes. I think actually, yeah, snake bites are the only, other than freebooters, who aren't really a clan, I think we only have snake bites left. So here's an important misconception, like one of the most common misconceptions that I need to get out of the way about snake bites, is that feral orcs don't equal snake bites, and snake bites don't equal feral orcs. Because this is a common misconception a lot of people have about snake bites and feral orcs. It's that snake bites equal feral orcs because they tend to not like using technology. Like they think technology makes some of the clans softer, and so they like to stick to the old ways. But the thing about feral orcs is that they don't want to stick to the old ways. They just simply have to, because they haven't been able to face enough opposition or develop enough technology to advance beyond that. So the subject of the old ways is essentially forced upon feral orcs, whereas snake bites see it as are more of a romanticizing the old ways, and that the best way to solve a new problem is to use an old solution. And so they typically stick with the old ways, but they're not against using technology. No. They're not like cavemen. They're not like that's making them sound like they're feral orcs, because feral orcs are essentially like cavemen in that they use basically like primitive clubs and stone and wood for their choppas, and don't typically develop beyond an Iron Age form of technology. Snake bites, they do actually utilize quite a bit of technology. Like, they will actually have mechs and they will have pain boys. Like, believe it or not, it's just that you're more likely to have weird boys and runt herders to be found amongst snake bites, because snake bites, they also do like to breed squigs and grots and make them a bit more powerful and ferocious compared to normal grots and squigs. They're the only clan that actually have the proper formula that's able to breed like the massive squigoths and make them huge. So like the main technology that snake bites will utilize will be steam technology. They'll use a lot of like steampunk technology, such as the steam gargant or the steam battle wagon. They have a lot of steam technology, and I don't really know if that's different from some of the other orc vehicles, especially when you take a look at like the Stompa with like the massive chimney on its back. I don't really know if that's the same, but that's just how it's described. Although I do believe that some orc vehicles are like, they're not really powered by steam. They're more just powered by some kind of generator that the mech has shoved into the vehicle. And also about beast snaggers, because some people are also confusing feral orcs, snake bites, and beast snaggers. This is another issue. Beast snaggers, not all beast snaggers are going to come from snake bites. And the reason why a lot of people think beast snaggers tend to come from snake bites is because snake bites, they love to hunt. They like hunting giant monsters and killing like big tough monsters, and essentially using their dead bodies as trophies. Beast snaggers, they also love to do this, but it's just like with evil sons and speed freaks, that snake bites and beast snaggers aren't the same thing. Like, beast snaggers also have the love of hunting beasts, but they like specialize in it. They are enamored by it. Any orc from any clan can have this love of bringing down big monsters or big vehicles, and it's more than likely that they'll join up with beast snaggers, because orcs, like any orc from any clan, can easily join up with a subculture, and that's essentially what beast snaggers are. They're a subculture that like incorporates all the clans. Like you can have Goth beast snaggers, you can have Evil Sun beast snaggers, you can have Bad Moon beast snaggers, and you are more likely to find a lot of snake bites as beast snaggers, because again, snake bites love hunting large monsters, which is again the main trait that really differentiates them from feral orcs, in that they have this certain love of hunting big monsters and big vehicles. That's the big differentiating factor between snake bites and feral orcs. And was that I think that's everything for snake bites. So Would you like me to talk some more about freebooters? Because I know I did skim on them in my last stream. Yep. All right. We'll talk some more about freebooters. Now, another big misconception for orcs. We'll see. Let's go with the pirate. Yeah. See, there you go. That's a misconception, Blobo Clown. Freebooters aren't all pirates. It's more of all orc pirates are freebooters. It's not the other way around. So it's not all freebooters are orc pirates. All orc pirates are freebooters. That's how that would work, because not everything that in freebooters means pirates. Like, it doesn't have to all just mean pirate orcs, because how freebooters work, it's more of like just simple outcasts or people who got kicked out of their clan, or orcs who are suffering from mutations and genetic modification. And it also can even mean like certain human mercenaries that are like inspired by the orcs and want to be like the orcs. Which again, I'm gonna keep pointing this out, Blobo Clown. Go and watch the Ork Clans video made by the war bosses on their show, because I really think you're gonna love that video on the subject of Ork Clans, and they do delve into freebooters. And also, I'm just gonna say this right now, I'm not gonna talk about Rebel Grots, because Rebel Grots, they are essentially Grot freebooters. So I'm not really going to talk about Rebel Grots. But on the subject of freebooters, it can mean a whole sorts of different things for orcs. It could be like it can be pirate orcs. Yeah. Watch it after the stream. But it can be pirate orcs, but it can also be like orcs who just decide to exile themselves and hire themselves out as mercenaries. So, like, you can have a group of storm boys or a group of commandos who choose to hire themselves as mercenaries. You could have an unstable weird boy who gets called a weird boy warphead, or a possessed warphead if he gets exposed to the warp, and he gets kicked out of the clan because he can't stop exploding boys' heads. Or he exploded the war boss's head at one point. It could be a war boss who was defeated but didn't get killed and is then kicked out of the tribe or the clan, who then would go by captain instead of war boss. It could also be, if the war boss is kicked out and his knobs are still loyal to him, they'll follow him, which would be referred to as like an outcast retinue of knobs. It could also be like certain orc individuals who are excessively vicious and violent, even by the low orc standards, who then also get kicked out because they're too dangerous to be around. It can, and also one of the biggest things, it can also mean, like, again, mutations, because chaos orcs are a thing. Like, they are a thing. Orc mutants that are like mutated by chaos are a thing. Like, most orcs that would fall to chaos, they typically would start following Khorne, because Khorne like resonates with orcs very much, due to them like having the similar incentives to like just live for the fight and just fight because you want to. In fact, I think actually all orcs who fall to chaos, unless they get like possessed by demons from the warp that aren't dedicated to one specific god, they eventually like then, other than like the mutants, like the possessed mutants, all orcs who fall to worshiping chaos follow Khorne, because he is essentially very similar to Gork and Mork, where he's just all about fighting and killing. There can also be orc gene stealers, like when an orc gets infected with gene stealer DNA. And again, this is also this is a thing, but it's also very rare because this is the thing about orc mutations and mutants. They are a thing, but they're also extraordinarily rare because orcs, they tend to have like the good sense of being able to figure this stuff out a lot quicker. So like if there is a gene stealer infection in the orc tribe or clan, then typically it's either killed or it gets kicked out very quickly because orcs are able to like find it a lot quicker than humies or like than the humans are. And so while chaos orcs and gene stealer orcs are a thing, they're not very common. They're very rare because like most of them are probably either killed or then again just get kicked out. And quite often they aren't really, because they still hold their orc characteristics, they aren't really welcome into the opposite side. So like gene stealer orcs don't really go along with Tyranids or even gene stealer cults. They will usually just sign aboard with the local freebooters and go with them because freebooters are more than or will be more than happy to have some chaos mutants or gene stealer orcs. They'll be fine with it. Because this is the thing about freebooters is that there's so much diversity that you can really just say that they're the easy excuse. Like if you just see something as like very unorky or it's not really part of the clan, you can just say it's a freebooter because that's what the freebooters are. They're a clan for the clanless. And I could go into more detail about about some of these other clans, but I don't think I will because well, we're already up to like past almost to 2 hours, so I think I may call this stream to a close. But before I do, were there any more questions about the clans and Ork lore that you were wanting to know about, Blobo? You learned a lot today from me. Wow, that's surprising. Most people in the Discord tend to not learn anything other than I'm incredibly annoying. But were there any more questions you got on the clans or what anything like any more orc lore you want to like described for you, or do you think you've got everything you need so far? I'm not seeing a comment that popped up so far, so unless no comment so far. But we'll probably bring the stream to a close here real quick. But before I do, I'm gonna throw some more paint onto this MegaNobz. And next stream will probably be Saturday next week because unless I have something planned for Saturday, because here's how the stream plan is gonna work. It's gonna be every Saturday I'm streaming. What I got is Goths are the angriest, evil sons are the fastest, moons are the richest, skulls are the lootiest, snake bites are the oldest, and freebooters a little bit of everything. That's a way of putting it. But sure, you could say it like that. Yeah, was that everything you needed? Because if so, then I think I'll bring the stream to a close now. Alright. Yeah, thank you. I really do enjoy making these streams. Ugh. It just kind of sucks that not as many people turn up to them and are able to watch all the way through. But, oh well. It's all good. It's always good. So, again, next stream is going to be next Saturday. And I might as well just say this for people who choose to watch back on the replay. Please hit the like button and also subscribe and hit the notification bell. And another person has just jumped in right as the stream is ending. Who's just jumped in? Please don't go away. Just tell me what your name is, and then I'll probably have to close the stream. Who is this mysterious person who has just jumped into the chat? I can't close the stream until you tell me what your name is. In which case, if you choose to leave, then I'll just have to close the stream. Oh well. I hope it's not you on another profile, Globo Clown, because that would be incredibly hysterical. Plus, also just trying to figure out who this secret person is. I've just dropped my paintbrush into my paint water. I'm not that smart to do that. Now, we had 5 people in here, but we only had 4 likes. What is this? What is this disgrace? Disgraceful display, I say. I guess I'll flip the camera around so you can see. Here is the progress on MegaNobz number 1 with dual kill saws. And it looks like the mysterious person left again. But here is the progress. Ignore the Space Marines down there. Focus on this. Because it's just like you've just said, Blobo Clown. It is lovely. Anyways, I'm painting white over certain areas because it'll help the orange be more opaque, because orange is a bit of a pain to paint over gray or black. So I'm painting over with white first before I then paint over the white with orange. But anyways, hope you all loved the stream. And hope to see you on the next one. Yeah, that's what I do with yellow on mine. Good man, yes. But anyways, I think that's everything I've got to say. So, I'll see you on the next one, you gits. Whoa!